Well, welcome everybody. Welcome all. Welcome for this first webinar of PIMAP for Sustainability. I'm really happy to host you today. Welcome for this webinar Fund Your Innovation Project with SME. That's the title. I'll present quickly myself. I'm Xavier Alberola, coordinator of PIMAP for Sustainability and EU project manager. I'm working for Alpha RLH, a French competitiveness cluster based in New Aquitaine region in France, and focusing mainly on photonics and microwave technology. I'll be your host for this world webinar, where we are going to present you, first of all, our project, PIMAP for Sustainability and its legacy, and obviously the funding opportunity that it represents for European SME working on photonics technology. So our today program is divided in 3 parts. So in the first part, my partner Andrea from Affil will present you the success story of our PIMAP partnership and its associated projects. And then in the second time, my colleague Stina from Propel will introduce you to this new strand of PIMAP partnership that is PIMAP for Sustainability. And at the end, I will present you the open call and the opportunity that it represents to found your innovation project. So now I will let the floor to you, Andrea, if you want to present quickly yourself and start your presentation.
Thank you very much, Xavier, for the introduction. I'm Andrea Mazzoleni. I'm working from AFIL. AFIL means Associazione Fabbrica Intelligente Lombardia. We are the Lombardy cluster. We are located in Italy, and specifically, we are the Lombardy cluster for advanced manufacturing. We are one of the 9 technological clusters in Lombardy recognized by the region as entities to promote research innovation, specifically in manufacturing. And we are partner of the PIMAP for Sustainability project. And I would like to tell you a story that started in the January 2018 with the first PIMA partnership, because we have to understand that PIMA is a journey. It's a journey starting 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and now it still goes on, because in January 2018 we have started the PIMA first partnership, then built up the construction of the successful projects such as PIMA Plus, just ended in August 2022, and now PIMA for Sustainability. I would like to have some flavor about this journey. In particular, PIMA was starting in the January 2018 and finished in January 2020, and involves 4 partners that still continues in that journey in PIMA Plus and PIMA for Sustainability. And in particular, the first PIMA partnership was targeted to devise and establish an international roadmap for internationalization of SMEs in photonics, dealing with industrial application, dealing with sectors such as metallurgy, aerospace, and manufacturing as a general, as a whole, and involve as a cluster comprehensively almost 90,000 SMEs represented by the consortium. And in this first project, we have a target to establish some memorandum of understanding with extra-European countries such as the United States and Canada, about which we have built on the follow-up project. The follow-up project that has been named PIMA Plus in order to give a continuity, to give a continuous flow with the previous one. This project was enlarged because from 4 partners, we moved on to 6 European clusters that together represented more than 1,000 SMEs. And in particular, rely on what has been established in the first project, we have goes on in order to foster the internationalization of SMEs in photonics and specifically in the sector that I previously mentioned, aerospace, metallurgy, and advanced manufacturing. In particular, we have built up a partnership that was aimed to support the cross-sectoral cooperation among clusters and SMEs, but not only was aimed to foster the engagement and SMEs in internationalization, establish specific cooperation agreement with RTOs and third party in extra-European countries that from Canada and US have been enlarged to also Asian countries, Japan and China. And PIMA Plus was a project that has to face several challenges because we have to understand that we have started a project that entitled International Mission, so international travel in the COVID area. So we have to deal with this particular situation in order to find a smart solution to implement what has been agreed in the project. It means support SMEs in their internationalization. So we started to implement the first mission, the first international mission with China online. We have to make an agreement with the Ministry of Innovation and Technology in Beijing, in China, in order to organize with them a huge event, a huge online event in which we have involved our companies, in which also we have been able to achieve the result to sign a cooperation agreement with the scientific park in Beijing, Zhongkunshan Park in particular. And then we have also tried to travel and mainly in Europe in the first part, because we have the opportunity to bring up our company in visiting a specific trade fair in the topics of advanced manufacturing and machinery, laser cutting, such as IMO Milan in October 2021, the first time that the PIMA Plus consortium meet physically together was in Milan. Then in December 2021, we were able to move with our company in Porto, in EMAF, another big event, another big fair in the field of automation, in Industry 4.0, laser technology, and machinery. And then we are able to go international. We are able to organize the first international mission in Canada, in particular in the Montreal area, in April 2022. And then we are able to go to the US, we are able to go to ISTEC in May 2022. Previously, we were also able to go in the US in January 2022, visiting Photonics West. And then we finish our mission in Japan in June 2022. PIMA Plus was able to achieve outstanding result. First of all, we are able to organize all the mission that we have planned in US 2 times, in Japan, in Canada, in China remotely. We are able to overall organize more than 20 events in terms of workshop, in terms of matchmaking, in terms also a cross-cluster event. We are able to organize in July a cross-cluster event that was a success. We are able to get a partnership from different projects that were involved in the cluster for Go International call that co-financed the PIMA Plus and PIMA partnership before. We are able also to realize some useful material for our SMEs, for our company, that are freely downloadable from the ACCP platform, but also from the PIMA Plus website. This material regards 4 specific facts how to do business in Canada, in US, and Japan, and China. Also, we are able to realize 2 specific market studies that are of high value for a company, highlighting market trend in Asia and market trend in North America. Overall, we are also able to directly involve, to achieve a direct benefit, to transmit a direct benefit to more than 19 SMEs that directly benefit from the PIMA Plus session through the larger network of our cluster. And also we are able to involve more than 20 SMEs in the international mission that we are organizing. This mission, we are able to sign some cooperation agreement, some business agreement in order to foster their competitiveness, to foster their business, also match with the other company from the European delegation of the whole partner, but also from the extra European country in order to foster their business, to foster the activities. Also, as a PIMA Plus, we have also made a huge communication campaign, and we are able to channel more than 40 news on the European Cluster Collaboration platform. We are able to channel more than 60 news on social media, in particular the social media of the PIMA Plus, but also we are able to have an indirect communication, external communication through the network of the cluster that we are going to represent, more than 1,000 companies were informed about the activity of PIMA Plus. And last but not least, PIMA Plus was recognized by a success story by the European Commission, was recognized by a success story by the ESMA, the Agency for Small and Medium Enterprises. And it was a very outstanding result of the project and a great satisfaction, considering also the challenges that we have to face in the COVID area with the organization of the third country mission. And now the journey goes on. The adventure is not ended, the adventure is still ongoing. And what has been done in PIMA partnership first, in PIMA for PIMA Plus then, and in PIMA for sustainability now is a huge effort, is a huge design able to give a continuity of the activity performed by the consortium, by the whole consortium. Indeed, PIMA Plus Consortium will pursue its collaboration in this journey in PIMA for sustainability. And we are able to leverage on the work that we've done before, but also on the expertise and the network that we are able to build in the previous project in order to achieve all the results for our companies and for our members through PIMA for sustainability. And now I leave the floor to Stina to show you everything about this new project. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm Stina Johnson, and I'm a project manager at Propel RISE in Sweden, and I have a background in metallurgy, manufacturing, and photonics. And I will try to give a short overview of the present project, PIMA for Sustainability. As Andrea mentioned, we were a number of partners. It's Alpha, RHL, who is the lead part, and they are into photonic lasers and microwave electronics, just as Xavier mentioned in the beginning, and support those with digital tools. And they work towards health, communication, security, aeronautics, space defense, and energy smart buildings. The Swedish representative is now Propel, or Propel RISE, instead of Sustainable Steel Region. We work close with Sustainable Steel Region, so this is a development from that. We're situated in the northern part of Sweden, and we're a regional innovation hub focusing on innovations and focusing on industries. For example, the metalworking sector. We work a lot with sustainability issues too. And we're part of RISE, Research Institute of Sweden, which is an independent state-owned research institute with photonics, digitalization, material research, and development of a huge number of other areas. Afil, where Andrea come from, is from Italy, obviously. And they are a network of companies and universities and public and private research institutions and entities in the field of intelligent factory, or we would call it advanced manufacturing in this project. Then we have partners in Portugal, Produtec. It's an initiative promoted by the Portuguese industry of manufacturing technologies, and their aim is to modernize the developers and users of manufacturing technologies. And the fifth member, it should be MAC. I forgot the word now, but it's an aerospace cluster in the Czech Republic, and they're a leading cluster organization in aerospace, and they're trying to improve European competitiveness in aerospace with joint cluster activities. And last but not least is the Photonic Finland, which is a national technology platform and the national cluster to coordinate the Finnish Photonic Academy and industry within these areas. And they also work with policies and decision makers. So as you can hear, we're focusing on different things, but as a cluster, we think we can promote the European SMEs very well in this project. So what do we want to do? The PIMA Plus will work with innovation funding. That's what the aim is today, but also with training that we'll introduce later, and internationalization. And we will focus on key enabling technologies, qu'elles, within photonics, advanced manufacturing, and advanced materials. And this is to boost the innovation potential of the European SMEs and companies within the two key industrial industries of Europe, metalworking and aerospace. So these are the main areas we will work with. The project concept will connect together all key stakeholders along the photonics value chain and to enhance the resilience capacities of European SMEs and their industrial ecosystems. And through that, we will accelerate the adoption of green and digital new processes. Of course, the overall goal for the European Commission to grant us this is resilience within the European value chains in these areas. So the boost the potential of innovation of the European SMEs. That sounds easy, but it's not. But the objectives in this project is to foster and enhance these type of things. We will help to form consortia with SMEs, and it could also be large industries or academica or research institutes. This will be enabled by a matchmaking event, March 14th. We'll repeat this date a couple of times during this meeting. March 14th will be a digital matchmaking event. But we're also going to work with connection to ongoing infrastructure projects, benchmarking with the state of art and best available technology, new solutions by connecting the existing development technologies to industrial challenges, especially then within metalworking and aerospace. And also supporting and monitoring the establishment and implementation of transnational innovation vouchers. And this is a key thing that SMEs from 2 different European countries should work together. Xavier will give you all the details. We need to identify new to firm products. And finally, we will boost the adoption of process innovation to achieve digitalization and sustainability businesses. I mentioned briefly that there are more coming out from PIMA for sustainability, but today we're focusing on the innovation vouchers, but there will also be networking and Go International support services as a follow-up from the earlier PIMA projects. There will be a portfolio of new services related to skilling and upskilling. And then there will be training vouchers as well. So again, make a note, matchmaking, March 14th. We will use the B2Match platform, and we will be available for more questions at the time. So that was a short overfly over the present project. And now, Xavier, are you ready to give the details? of
Of course,
Thank
I'm
you.
ready. So let's jump into the parts for what you are here, obviously, the innovation output call and its funding opportunity. So as Tina said, we are relying on a new tool developed by the European Commission, which is FSTP or cascade funding. So basically, the European Commission is giving us 1 million euros, and we have to redistribute it toward SMEs to make it more resilient. So it's a new feature that we have included in this new PIMA project to boost and facilitate the twin transition of European SME through the funding of innovation projects. This support scheme also allows some more flexibility to SME to fund what they need to do. I'm going to explain how this FSTP scheme works. So you will see that it's really flexible. It's really easier for SME. So we are looking to fund projects up to 60,000 euro, and we are looking to fund at least 13 collaborative projects between SMEs, between European SMEs. It's really important. So as Tina said, we are relying on 3 key enabling technologies, so photonic, advanced material, advanced manufacturing, with application in 3 industrial themes: aerospace, metalworking, and industrial production, which is more a kind of open trend in this open call. It's a really open part. So these cover, as you have seen with the presentation of our consortium, all the cluster of this consortium. So we have built this consortium around this. So this way we can cover the most efficient way these themes for this open call, at least, and for the project in general. So now, what are we expecting from the project that's going to be funded? So it's in relation with the overall objective of this project to improve the sustainability and resilience of European SME. So we are going to mainly look into if your project will lead to the adoption of new to firms, products, services, or processes, or lead to the adoption of new business processes that would be tied to the adoption of a new technological solution. And obviously, we will have a quick look to see if your project leads to an overall improvement of your sustainability regarding all its aspects. So ecological sustainability, economical sustainability, and even social sustainability, if you can include it in your project. So in this innovation open call, we will mainly focus ourselves on the economic sustainability in the development of new to firm product, service, or processes. This is the main part. We are looking for these kind of things. But we will also look especially the green sustainability. I will explain that a little bit later. So what kind of projects are we looking for? We are looking for projects already quite mature, with a TRL from 5 to 8. So on the right of this slide, you can see the technology readiness level scale. So you can see that TRL 5 is already a quite well-developed demonstrator, a quite well-developed prototype, and 8 is a first commercialization of the prototype. So we are not looking for projects starting from scratch. We are looking for projects already well advanced and that want to go further or that want to decline themselves for the industrial themes we are looking for. The same for the duration. We are looking for project quite short, 6 to 9 months project. So keep that in mind. And the budget will be a maximum of 60,000 euros for each innovation project. So what type of activity can be funded? So in the logic of this open call, we try to keep it the most open as possible. So there is no restriction on the eligible activities. We are mainly looking to activities related to the development of an innovative project, an innovative solution. So it can be the development of a prototypes or test on innovative solution on end user facilities. So the idea is to keep it the most open possible. So there is no particular restriction here, except that your activities must be related to the development of an innovative project, an innovative solution. So if you're interested in this open call, obviously we'll have to apply to it. So what are the eligibility criteria to apply? Not to be beneficiary, it's important, I will explain it later, but just to apply. So this open call is open for companies in general, particularly SME and larger organization. You must be located in an EU member state or in an associated country to the Single Market Program, SMP The full list will be implemented in the open call guidelines that we are going to publish the 1st of March for the opening of the open call. And there is also the possibility to include in your proposal a third kind of partners, an RTO, that can be included in your consortium, but not exactly as a partner. You can include an RTO, but as a subcontractor. So for your consortium, the partner can only be an SME or a large organization. That does not mean that large organization can receive funding, because to be considered beneficiary, you must be only an SME. We are going to only fund directly SME. That's really important. So only SME will be able to receive funding from us. We are mainly targeting SME in our previous project, on this one also. RTO can receive money, but not directly from us. What I mean is that an RTO can be subcontracted within a project up to 20,000 euros. These 20,000 euros must come from your budget of 60,000 euros. We are not going to add 20 extra budget for RTOs, and the money must come from your budget. So we are not going to give directly money to the RTO. It will be a subcontracting partner, as it's done in other projects. I've seen a question. I will respond to the question at the end of the presentation, don't worry. And if you have, do not hesitate to write them down in the chat. I will try to keep some time to answer them. So as Stina said, we are obviously a European project, so which means obviously that you will have to set up international consortium. So there is two types of consortium that will be eligible to apply and to get money. So basically, we have to be two companies located in at least two different EU member states of the European Union, or associated to the SMP COSME program, as it was for the previous slide. And in your consortium, you must have at least one SME that will be considered as beneficiary. So there is two types of consortium, basically. One SME and one large organization, and consortium of two SMEs. This is the two types of consortium we are looking for. And as you've seen, we are mainly looking for a collaborative project between SME, and you will see in the evaluation form, we are trying to push that. So we are mainly looking for consortium of two SMEs, even though it's possible if you have a large organization with who you can organize a consortium, it's possible. So what would be an example of a project that would comply with what we are expecting? So basically, you have an SME that is deep tech photonic, producing a laser for the industry. And on the other end, you have another SME that is producing PCs for the aerospace industry, and that has particular requirements from its own industry. So the two companies will set up a consortium to share their requirements, and the photonic SME will adapt one of its lasers, so a laser that is already well developed, keep in mind TL 5 to 8, and then decline it to suit more to the needs of the aerospace industry. This way, the photonic SME will develop a new to firm product, new to firm processes, and the aerospace industry will be more efficient, will produce pieces that will be more valuable, and we can also add, we can imagine that the laser will be more energy efficient. So at the end, the solution will be more greener. So this way you have an example of what we are expecting. This is the idea of what would be a perfect project, but there is some declination, obviously. So how can you apply to this open call? As for the overall process, we tried to keep it the most simple as possible. So the open call will open the 1st of March 2023 and close 2 months after, the 3rd of May 2023. So there is no particular platform or site where you will have to submit online. We keep it really simple. There will be just an application template and some annexes. It will be a Word document, really short, really simple. We know that the time to apply is really short, so we try to keep it the easiest way possible. And you will just have to apply to this email address. Don't worry, you will have the presentation. So for the email address, you will have also it, where you can send us your application, and also for all your inquiries, all your questions, you can ask us to this email address. So obviously only the proposal with all the mandatory annexes and all the mandatory information will be accepted. So what are these documentation? So as I said, there is one application form, which is something like 5-6 pages. You will have to complete it, so it will be more, but a really short application form. And then you have some annexes. A first one that is the budget and activity sheets that I will show you in the next slide. And then a DOH, which is a declaration of honor. It's just an administrative document that you will have to sign to ensure that the information you're giving us are rightful. Keep in mind also that you can add some annexes to your proposal, but bear in mind that we will only evaluate your proposal on the basis of this document, the application form. So you can add some annexes, but don't add too much. We might not look at them to evaluate your proposal, so do not add too much. So here we have the activity sheets. So these documents, if you want to apply, you will have to complete it. The idea is just to have a quick overview of how you are going to organize your project. So you just have to indicate a starting date, an end date of the activities that constitute your project. You had who are going to be the lead partners that's going to monitor, to lead this activity. And really important, you will have to write down what could be the result of the activity and what could be the deliverable that you can produce. We will not ask you to do a deliverable for each or a report for each activities you are going to do. But we just need this because we are going to constitute with you, if you are obviously you are obviously selected, a follow-up plan to monitor your project. So we need to know what kind of deliverable you can produce for what kind of activities to then prepare this document to monitor your project. So then we have the budget table. So as I said, we are a cascade funding project. We are relying on lump sum tools. So it's a new financial tool developed by the European Commission, which means less financial reporting. This work as a grant. We give you 60K and you just have to spend it in relation with the activities for what you have been selected. So basically, there is no financial report. We do not ask you to keep a track of every euro spent, every expense. You just have to keep track of the major expense and to keep track that you have spent the money that we give you to do the activities. So we will need more this budget in the purpose of the evaluation because we will have an implementation section in the evaluation grid. So we will need to know a little bit about how you're going to divide your budget, how you're going to organize your activities in relation with the budget to then be able to evaluate properly the implementation of your projects. So these two sheets are mandatory documents, so you will have to complete them also. And then once you've sent us all those documents, we will start the evaluation process. So as for the previous processes, easiest way possible, we try to be really quick. So each partners, basically, of PMAP for sustainability, each cluster will evaluate separately your proposal on a score of 20 points. There is a threshold of 15. So then we will do the sum of all the scores, and this will be the final evaluation. Then on the basis on the final evaluation, if you reach the threshold, you're considered eligible, and then you will rate the best evaluation to select the 13, 14, 15 best one. Just to keep in mind, to bear in mind that to avoid any conflict of interest between ourselves and other company, we are not going to evaluate a proposal that include company that are from our country, which means that I'm French. I'm not going to evaluate French company. This is logic, but I better explain it again. So on what are we going to evaluate your proposal? So this grade will be in the guidelines, so you can consult it. You will be able to consult it in the presentation and in the guidelines. So basically, we have three major criteria. The first one, which is the relevance regarding our themes and industrial themes. So if you are a photonics, advanced material, advanced manufacturing company, what are your activities? The detail of what you are expecting will be explained more in the guideline, obviously, and in the application form. Toward which industrial sector you want to go, and explaining which one, how you're going that. And then we have the expected impact. It's what I explained you previously in the presentation about the new to firm products, services, and processes, you will have to prove us that your project is going to lead to an improvement of your sustainability in these parts. To be honest, I cannot read the slide because it's a lot de-zoomed, so I cannot go too much in detail. But the third section, if I'm not wrong, in implementation. So basically, we are going to look here to your budget and then to the expertise of your consortium. So here, if you have already been implied on other cascade funding projects, on European projects, you will have to write down your past experiences. We will also have a look to your commitment or your gender equality policy. We did the decision to include it in the evaluation form and not outside. We are not going to just evaluate your gender balance rates because we know that in industry it can be sometimes difficult. So we are going to evaluate the effort you are doing, your policy, your commitment toward gender equality in your company, in your consortium, to evaluate properly the implementation. And then you have a little last section, less important, just 2 points, where we are going to check if you are a cross-sectoral consortium, if you imply 2 SME, and especially, you will get 1 more point, if in your consortium you have 1 SME that is located outside of our countries. By that, I mean outside of the country in where us partner of PIMA for Sustainability are located, so outside of France, Portugal, Italy, Czech Republic, Sweden, Finland. If it's the case, you'll get 1 point. So if you're selected, what I'll go really quickly on that to let some time for the question, and because I think it will be the topic for another meeting for the one who's going to be selected. So if you're selected, first of all, congratulations. And then you will enter in the sub-grant agreement phase. So the sub-grant agreement will be the contract that is going to tie you from us. So with all the rules, the legal rules that are going to define what you are going to do, what you will have to do. Then, what I explained previously, we will define with you, in discussion with you, the follow-up plan that will be the key documents for the payment of your grants. The payment of the grant is going to be in 2 phases. So first of all, you'll get 50% of your grant at the signature of the sub-grant agreement. The other 50% will be paid only after the evaluation of 2 mandatory deliverables, which will be a final report and the business readiness plan. So these 2 will be mandatory. You will have to do them in any way. And then we might include an intermediary one that we are going to define with you, or we are going to do it the most convenient way also regarding your activities and your work plan. So this document will be done after the selection. So just a short graph to see the overview of the whole process for the next 6 months. So basically our documentation has been validated by the Commission in January, submitted in January and validated in February. We are the 33rd for the webinar. So 1st of March, we launch the open call. As said, Stina, the 14th, we have our first matchmaking. If you're looking for partners, really interesting to attend to this matchmaking. It's on the B2Match platform, so really convenient. You will have access to all the profile. You can register, organize B2B meeting to find a partner. Then the call close in the beginning of May, so 3rd of May. We will evaluate your proposal during May. We hope that we will be able to communicate the result in June to keep 3 months to define the follow-up plan and sign the contracts to start all the projects at the beginning of September 2023. So that's all for the innovation open call. This is all it's going to be organized for the process. I just had 1 slide because as Tina said, we have another one that has been validated recently that we are going to launch later on in May or June. It's going to be a training support scheme where we are going on the same way as the innovation one, give grants to scaling and upscaling of SMEs all along our key enabling technologies value chain. So it will be the same way. The eligibility condition will be quite different. So a sole SME will be able to apply to this scheme that will allow you to get trainings, services related to green transition, and training services related to internationalization of your activities. This open call will open later on, so we want to open it after the closing of the innovation one. So in May or June, this open call will be open. So just before finishing and going to the question, I just have a short question for you. Would you like to receive more information about the project? I'm saying that because we have all the relevant documentation, and if you want, we have your email because you registered, and we can send you directly the documentation at the opening of the call. So the guidelines, the annexes, the link to registers to the B2Match platform. So if you would like to get all this information directly on your email address, just answer to this poll. We will be then able to do an extract and send you directly all the relevant information for this open call. So I'll let you a little bit of time to answer. And then I will jump on my last slide. That is just a great thank you for attending this meeting. So for the next slide, as I said, thank you all for attending this meeting. You have here all of contacts. So you will be able to download the presentation, don't worry. We will send it to you, so you will be able to click on our link for social network, social media. You have here my email address if you want to contact me for any question, as I'm the coordinator of this open call. But you can also, if you're coming from one of my partner cluster, you can also contact your local cluster to ask questions about the project. And now, if you have questions to put in the chat, feel free. We have 15 minutes, so we have some time to answer all the questions. Yeah, absolutely. So can a consortium be made of a SME which creates the product and the client company, SME large, this product is created for? Absolutely. This is the idea of my example. So basically, the client have particular requirements in relation with in industry. So you share the requirement, you adapt a solution that is already developed, a prototype, and then on this base, you will develop a new product, a new services. You will be more resilient. So yeah, absolutely. If this open call will be focused on photonics aerospace, there will be other focus on advanced manufacturing in metalworking, or the second system are considered all together. I'm not sure to understanding well. The example of photonic and aerospace was just indicative. It can be photonics and metalworking, photonics and industrial production, and the same way, advanced material can go with aerospace, can go with advanced manufacturing. So the three CATs and three industrial themes are going together. I can be cross. You don't have to cover the full scope. You can pick one within the three. This is the amount of subvention per project. So I think you can exceed that, but I would advise you to not exceed that in the proposal. Just scale down your project to 60K. It will be easier for us to monitor which is the money that we are giving you from your own fund. So if you can scale down your project to 60K, it's better. If not, it's okay. To personal costs, advice to travel purchase. I do not have any best way to divide. Maybe Stina or Andrea, you have more experience than me on that. I don't know if it is a best way to divide the budget. I think it's all according to you.
I think also, in my opinion, is up to each application how to try to split as the best way the budget among personal, travel, and other type of cost. It depends. It depends.
Yeah, absolutely. It will depend on the base of what are your activities. So we will evaluate the two documents, the activities and budget, to see if there is relation. So it must be just coherent.
Yeah, and you can also think that the aim is to get a good result of your project, not that you how many hours or that you travel, but the best way you can spend the money to reach the goal.
Exactly, as Stina said, is the right way. If you would like to develop a product, you should allocate the budget accordingly to this activity. rather than?
So quite a difficult question here. I think I cannot answer it now, but I keep it. As I said, we are going to organize a matchmaking event, so maybe it is possible for you to meet someone here. But also, if you feel that you're looking at partners that might be in our network as partner of PIMA4, so Andrea is working in a cluster of advanced manufacturing. We have an aerospace cluster. So if you're looking for a partner in this particular area, you can send us an email to the email address I put in the presentation, and we will look in our network if we have someone that might be interested. So I can see that there is no more question. So if there is still no more, I can say you a big thank you for attending this meeting. We are still available if you have questions, if you want to have more information, to know anything. We have your email address. The open call will be free for the 1st of March. We'll be able soon to publish all the relevant documentation of our social network. So I hope it will help you to prepare a proposal, and I wish you good luck for your project if you plan to apply to this open call. Oh, good question. Last but good question. No, if you're applying to a project, you can only apply once. That's important to know. It's different for the green transition and internationalization part. It's a good question. So no, you can only apply to one project. And also something I didn't say, but keep in mind that you must not exceed personally as an SME 60,000 euro received from us. It's just another information. I don't think it will happen, but if you are on a project with a large organization and you get 60,000 euro, you will not be able to benefit from the other support services we have developed, especially regarding training. All of this will be obviously explained a lot in the guidelines.
And I put a link to the matchmaking event in the chat. So if you want to join already now, you can, and we will also upload the recording of this meeting and other important information at the site.
Well, perfect. Thank you, Stina. So I guess now we're done. We do not have any more questions. So thank you all. Have a good lunch if it's almost noon for you in your country. And I wish you all a good day.
Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.